So I was having this, finalize my divorce, started working with my brother. The company started doubling. I'm just a single dad with 3 kids doing all this at the same time. And had went to a therapist like right before I got divorced to see if, my marriage could be saved. Didn't work out, short story. And I decided to go back to the therapist like a few months later to say, what if I'm crazy? What if I need help? Or what if, I just decided to be open to someone telling me who I didn't even know, what I should do with my life. And after doing the whole interview process and her doing my whole workup, she's just like, I got 2 recommendations for you. 1, do more cardio. It's good for stress. And 2, you need a spiritual practice.
Yeah. Wow.
And she's saying, I'm not telling you what to do or even what I am. I'm just saying, what are you doing for your spirit? And I was like, shit, she's right. I used to be Christian. I used to go to church. I was so involved and I don't want to do that anymore, but shouldn't I do something? Because I have nothing,
You have nothing to like hold bigger than you. And I felt the same at the time.
So I was like, wanted to do meditation even before I heard you talk about it because I thought, okay, this is a non-religious way to be spiritual.
Yeah.
So I tried apps. I tried the Calm app. I forget all kinds of apps. I went to a Buddhist meditation class, and the specific one I went to was cool, but it didn't do anything for me. And halfway through, we're meditating about how only through Buddha can we obtain enlightenment.
Then you're like, it's doctrine shit.
I was like,
on,
man, I don't want to. So it's turned me off, and I struggled until I was on Instagram. And I saw your post, and I just saw a post that said inner engineering, and I thought it sounded so interesting. And so I called you, and I remember being like, dude, what is this?
I remember this call vividly.
Yeah. I don't remember it because to me, I just remember you hardly saying anything about it. Just saying, it's a really cool class, and some guy named Sound Guru, Google it, YouTube it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we talked about other stuff. And for a while, I didn't Google or YouTube. But then like you, I got hooked on just watching. Once I watched one video, I started watching more and more and more and more. And it started making so much sense to me. I'm like, I'm finding it's because usually I'm a disagreeable person and I would like to be, that's bullshit,
Me too.
But I'm like, I'm not really hearing anything that's too crazy. Like, it seems to make sense. So 2019, he was coming to Los Angeles and I was like, and you had told me when I did finally ask you about it, about how it was teacher led. And I thought, shit, he's coming to LA. And see, you did right by me by not telling me what it was. Because when I went, I didn't even really know.
I honestly wouldn't have even known what to tell you at the time.
Yeah, I didn't even know that like we were going to learn a meditative practice, I don't think. I just knew it was inner engineering and they're going to tell us about it. So I did the online course, which was a lot of like intellectual kind of stuff. Think about this, think about that. It gives you a few little practices. And so when I went, I remember thinking like, and watching him the first night, just thinking, this is stupid. Because I'm like, I already watched all his videos. He's saying the same shit. I've watched 100 videos. He's just saying the same thing, And I don't know how much to get into on this podcast with my experience.
Whatever you want, man.
Screw it. Why not? So what happened, I'll tell you my experience of what happened. Fuck it. Why not? We're here. I came all this time to come to the podcast. I might as well let it rip. So
you want to pull out some weed?
No. No. I go to this without much expectation with my best friend, because he's into this kind of stuff too. And
it's funny how you had somebody to like share this experience with.
I'm grateful because it's also a witness to make me think I didn't think this up in my head. So I think it was a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, usually.
Friday night, we're at the LA Convention Center. I hear his speech. It's cool. He just looks like a tired version of himself. It was really weird. Like he looked like 10 years older. I don't know why all of a sudden. And he just said all the same things like in a different order that I've heard on every video I've ever heard him talk about. And I was kind of like disappointed. Like, man, I thought something magical or cool was going to happen. Oh, well. So we went back to the hotel room and we were sharing a room, save on money. 2:00 in the morning, I just bolted straight out of bed like someone had splashed water on me or something. And I woke up covered in tears. My shirt just like I had been crying in my sleep or something.
Yeah.
Just shot up out of my fucking bed. And I was so high and so positive and so felt like I had gone to like the equivalent of like 1,000 therapy sessions or something. And only I never knew what the contents of those sessions were, but the effects were felt, so to speak. And I even woke my friend Mike up and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, like just crying. And he's just like, are you okay? I was just like, I'm better than okay. And instantly I could tell that many things just dropped off of me. And this is not like a plug necessarily for inner engineering, although I think everyone could benefit from it, but whatever resonates with you.
Whatever you find.
But the point is, I did this, and after I ended up going a year, twice a day, I was nuts about it. But from the second I was initiated into this meditation, For the first year, I didn't even want to puff on a joint. One time when I saw you, I would reluctantly, because I finally felt how much my own system could far outperform marijuana. You see, if your system is operating at a low level and marijuana is the best that you can fucking do,
life sucks, son.
Yeah, your life sucks. Like, don't think it's awesome.
No.
You should actually look the other way and say, this is the highlight of my fucking day. I can't raise myself to any higher level than this by smoking this plant or whatever the hell it is you got to do. So I finally had an experiential knowledge of being able to be at a high level. And for me, I hadn't done a lot of drugs, but it beat out shrooms. It beat out LSD, beat out weed, beat out alcohol.
And you could do it every morning, and there was no like crash from that high.
No
it was
crash.
Just like you feel so lifted, so positive, and just ready to face anything. And you never feel like all of a sudden, oh, now I feel like shit.
No,
you
my
might
stress went away.
You might feel like, okay, it's just tapers down, but it doesn't have any crash. And it's like, you're telling me I can just get high, and like how Wim Hof says, you can get high on your own supply by just doing some breathing and being like meditative by like focusing on
just doing some basic practices.
You know, like what we did in the beginning. We did Om chanting. That's one of the things that you do.
It's part of it. Yeah.
In this meditation, and like just by being more intentional about these things, you can spark up this insane state where you're just so blasted off and free, and you could do this by yourself anywhere, and you don't need any substance. And it was.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. People have to do it to really believe it. You know, it's hard to give.
Yeah, you shouldn't believe it. You should be super skeptical. But hopefully, that skepticism drives you to test it.
Test it.
I mean, if you're willing to test weed or willing to test whatever the latest workout program,
for real.
Yeah, I got to a point where I was so high on my own supply that I had my own kids and just relatives and people wondering what the hell was wrong with me. I could, look at a sunset and burst into tears, like ecstatic tears, not sadness. I could stare at a flower for an hour if I wanted to, and just be entranced with it, But so weed just took a huge backseat, and my stress went up. I mean, the bottom line is, forget all the fanciful, I saw the fourth dimension or some shit like that. I stopped having stress. I stopped having panic attacks. I didn't need weed or even CBD. And I remember I was taking CBD that was helping me, that Charlotte's Web stuff that was helping with my stress. And when I started feeling so high for meditation, part of me was like, don't stop taking CBD. What if it's the CBD? I had that thought.
Yeah.
Oh, what if it's really the CBD that's helping you? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop the CBD. I stopped everything, tested it. And since then, I have never had a panic attack or a moment of anxiety. Yeah. And from that time forward, I went through many different real life tests. Yeah. Let's just say, because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we're sticking to weed, but things happen to me. I'm talking people that wanted to physically assault me. I'm talking like extreme business pressure, people screaming at, yelling at me, different things, to where I had such a sense of peace that like, there's no way weed.
I remember you were at a place where you basically couldn't be bothered by anything